Yo, what's good everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at my most hype announcements for the Nintendo Direct Mini and kind of rating the overall show. So this was a Nintendo Direct Mini. It was not a full Nintendo Direct. And before the show even started, Nintendo did point out that CV is causing some issues here and there. So they kind of already set you up for some things, and it didn't have the full presentation that they usually have with Koizumi-san or Takahashi-san or Doug Bowser coming out and talking and kind of having those slick transitions. It was just the mini style. Now, we haven't seen the Nintendo Direct Mini since 2018, and 2018's Nintendo Direct Mini, I didn't think that was that great. I mean, there was some cool stuff in there, The World Ends With You and other games like that, but overall, it was kind of like, okay. But this one to me seemed a lot better, well, because I had big games that they already talked about at other directs and stuff like that, but we actually got release dates, we got demos, we got special editions, we got shadow drops. It was actually pretty cool. So let's go over some of my most hype and exciting things about this, then we'll rate the show. So we're gonna start from the bottom here and then work our way to the top, and we're starting off with Borderlands, BioShock, XCOM, and Catherine. All of those big games are coming over to the Nintendo Switch, which is pretty cool. This May, we're going to be able to play the 2K games of Borderlands, BioShock, and XCOM 2. Those are going to all be out in May, so awesome stuff there. People have been asking for Borderlands on the Nintendo Switch for a long time. I'm a Borderlands fan myself, so I'll definitely check it out, see how it runs on the Nintendo Switch. But the big game out of those three for me, which would be a new game that I haven't quite played all the way through, is XCOM 2. That is a great strategy game, and I'm looking forward to checking it out on the Nintendo Switch. And shout outs to 2K for bringing over all of those games on the Nintendo Switch. So that was a pretty nice announcement for there. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is Gung Ho's Ninjala. Now, this game has been reworked quite a bit, it seems like. I mean, it's what the original vision was going to be, but they've definitely tinkered with it, and you can tell that it's actually running in engine, and it's not a free-to-play game, so it's not going to be a paid game anymore. It's not a free-to-play game, so we're going to see how they kind of put in microtransactions, kind of what they do in there. But the exciting thing about the game is that it's going to be 4-on-4 ninja battle, so you'll be able to clan up, as they say, and go into ninja battles with other people. I'm looking forward to checking it out and seeing how the gameplay is. Kind of reminds me of like Splatoon, kind of with the art style a little bit, but just ninjas. So awesome stuff there. Now, moving on to the next thing here, we're getting into some more of the hype stuff. Now, if I don't mention something that you like from this direct or from this mini direct, it's okay. There was a lot of cool stuff. There was some stuff that wasn't so great. Whatever the case is, I'm just going over what I thought was awesome. So, ARMS coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate this June. That is hype, because that's not that far from now. That is not that far from now. They're going to have a brand new ARMS character in the Fighters Pass Volume 2. And we don't know who it's going to be. They showed all the different characters in ARMS, and they're like, we don't know who it's going to be. So I'm guessing it's going to be a multitude of characters as echoes, and you're going to be able to swap out different ARMS pieces for those characters. So you're going to be able to have like Twintel and Ribbon and Springman and all these different ones, and you can be able to swap out those, and they're going to be echoes. That's what I'm guessing, because that's what ARMS is about. Yes, they have the special abilities, but they have the arms, and that's the biggest deal about the game, the different arms and how you inflict damage on them. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they translate how ARMS works, a fully 3D game with such a weird, different type of fighting game, over to Super Smash Brothers. So we'll see about that. So I'm excited for ARMS. I do like the game. Twintel's my main, and hopefully Twintel's in there. I think that they have to put Twintel in there either as a echo or a skin or whatever, kind of like how they do with Bowser Jr. and all of that. They have to put Twintel in there. So I want that. Please, Nintendo. Please, Sakurai. Do not forget Twintel. Next up, Panzer Dragoon Remake. Out now. Shadow drop for Panzer Dragoon Remake. Hype. I don't know if the game is gonna suck or not, but either way, I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big Panzer Dragoon fan. Always played the game back in the day, and now the game is out. I gotta buy that. I gotta play it. I gotta stream it. I gotta do something. I gotta do a review on it. Something like that. Some gameplay. We gotta check that out. So that was actually pretty cool. And people are wondering, when's this game gonna come out? They're like, oh, well, it comes out now. Shadow drop for the game. So I love when they do that for some of these games. And this is about as big of a game that you're gonna get for a shadow drop for a full game, right? So that was pretty cool. Now we're getting into the super hype stuff here, guys, and we're gonna start off with Bravely Default 2 demo. Oh my gosh, Bravely Default 2, they had like a little piece on the game where they showed it up. It looks phenomenal. The detail within the clothing, the atmosphere of the storybook style, just the combat just looks so good. They perfectly adapted the 3DS style over to the Nintendo Switch. But it's almost kind of jarring at times because you see the simplicity of the character design, but then like the outfits are like nice and in depth, and the cloth looks good, and it just looks really, really cool. I mean, that's the one thing that kind of just struck me when I saw that first Asterisk boss battle, and you saw like his coat and how it looked. I was just like, wow, that looks amazing when it comes down to it. And then the atmospheres and the surroundings and the gameplay just looks so cool. And Square Enix, I swear, is on the biggest roll that I've ever seen them. This reminds me, and I talked about this in a video, of classic Square Enix. I mean, look at the bangers we've been getting back to back to back to back with Square Enix. Not only did they release a ton of Final Fantasy games, which was awesome on the Nintendo Switch, so they released their back catalog of games, but we have stuff like Trials of Mana with the demo that transfers over. We have stuff like Final Fantasy VII Remake with the demo. It doesn't transfer over, but there's a demo for that game. That game is looking awesome. We have stuff like Dragon Quest XI S Definitive Edition. That was last year. That game is awesome on the Nintendo Switch. There was a demo, transfers over. It was fantastic. So I love what they did there. And now we have Bravely Default 2, where they're going to be getting more feedback so they can improve the game. I love that. They did that with Bravely Default on the Nintendo 3DS. They're doing that again. They did that with Octopath Traveler. They're doing it again. Square Enix is on a roll. They are almost back, man, to that 90s Square Enix. I can feel it. That 90s, early 2000s Square Enix, they are doing really good. So I'm very hyped and excited about that. Bravely Default is one of my favorite games of all time, definitely in my top 20. So to see this game on the Nintendo Switch, and it's coming this year, very hyped, very excited about that. Next up is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Oh my gosh, I almost had a meltdown when I saw this game. When I saw this game live, I literally had nearly like a meltdown for this game. It is beautiful. I don't want to hear anybody say that the game isn't a remake. It is not a 1080p port. It is not an upscaling. It is not a Dolphin version. It is a full-on remake with the future connected to Bionis' shoulder and that extra content and a steelbook. Nintendo knows how to get the Xeno fans hyped. They know how to get people hyped for this game, and man, they did a great job. That was a phenomenal trailer showing off the gameplay for the first time, and it just looks so much better than what we saw, you know, from the original, at least just from like the original game, of course, but also from the first trailer, obviously showing off the gameplay. And the trailer in there was awesome. The cutscenes, everything has been perfectly recrafted, and the whole game is there, and then some with the future connected. I could not be happier as a Xenoblade fan. I am ecstatic with this news. I mean, this was great stuff all around, right? Like all these different things that we're talking about, they were all really cool, man, but that was just great. That to me, and they started off with that, made it to me. I'm a happy person because of Xenoblade and because of Bravely Default. Those two things made me very happy because those are two of my favorite franchises of all time. Now let's get to some of the bad, I guess, right? So definitely the bad was there wasn't any big new game reveals in terms of first party content, right? They had a lot of DLC expansions and stuff that they talked about, but there wasn't a lot of new big first party titles, which I kind of expected, you know, just because of some stuff that I learned beforehand, but also because it was a Nintendo Direct Mini, and also because of the message that they gave beforehand. So while I do understand what's going on within the world, we are in a global pandemic, and there's probably stuff that wasn't able to get put together because of working from home or because whatever the case is, it still is just maybe a little bit disappointing, and I understand and I feel for those out there that mentioned that to me and kind of put that out there. So that's definitely something in terms of representation wise. Yeah, they didn't have that big, you know, killer type of game in terms of new reveal for that, because it was a Nintendo Direct Mini, and they ended off with Pokemon Sword and Shield, which is a huge popular game, and people like the game, but so many people hate the game too. It's kind of like a both on that one, but the expansion pass stuff looks pretty cool. But I understand in terms of that regards, obviously they didn't end real big with that, and they usually end with one more really big thing. But for Pokemon fans, I think that that was okay. But overall, yeah, that's one definitely knock that you can put on it, which to me definitely knocks the show down a little bit. But once again, I didn't go into it thinking that there was going to be anything too crazy and some of the messages that Nintendo put out, but that was a little bit of a downside when it comes to the presentation overall. But it was 28 minutes or so not bad for Nintendo Direct Mini. Wasn't too bad with the in terms of what they showed off. There was also a demo reel, or not demo reel, but a highlight reel of various different stuff, so like Burnout Paradise and things like that, which ports, all that, whatever. So it wasn't like there was a lot of new big third-party brand new game announcements of like current generation titles and stuff like that being brought over, you know, so it wasn't that. So that's also a little bit of a knock as well. So we're gonna get into my overall grade for the show with all the good and also with the bad. So to me, obviously, huge Bravely Default fan, huge Xenoblade fan. This was a solid show. I would give it a solid B, just a flat B when it comes to Nintendo Direct Mini. I don't think it was as good as some of the previous regular Nintendo Directs that we've had. Obviously, it's not as good as those because those are the big Directs. Those are 40 minutes, you know, so it wasn't as good as that. But if you compare it to the Nintendo Direct Mini that we had in 2018, I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good compared to that. When it comes down to it, because we got a lot more content we can play. Also, Trails of Cold Steel. Trails of Cold Steel, there's a demo for that game too. That's going to be out in June, so they did date that, so not bad on there. So to me, I give it a solid B. I think that the new ARMS announcement character hype, I think that Bravely Default with the demo, 2020 confirmed again, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, May 29th Special Edition, that was really good. Shadow dropping demos, shadow dropping stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a B, solid B. Out of like the highest would be like an A plus, right? Or maybe even an S, but A plus would probably be the highest, or S. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a B. I think that it was a good show. It was a good show. There was definitely some things, right? Like there wasn't that big new game reveal in terms of first party or big, huge current generation third party game being brought over at this one. But in terms of what they did show, I thought it was pretty good for what I like to play. Now, other people might be different on that, but for what I like to play, definitely it was pretty good. Solid show. So what do you guys think about the Nintendo Direct Mini? And what do you guys think Nintendo's going to do going forward in the future? Obviously, there's some issues going on with CV, global pandemic kind of going around, so we don't know how it's going to affect everything. But I'm thinking maybe around June E3 time, they can have a big normal Nintendo Direct, and then of course the fall, hopefully things are all good by then, and then they have another big Nintendo Direct like they usually have. But you never know with development cycles and all that, which they did state. So we'll have to wait and see in the future. So what are you guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the link in the description. We've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a follow on there. We just hit 10K, so thank you guys so much for that. I do appreciate it. And also make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.